Youth of Purpose.
A very good evening, and of course you are welcome to Youth of Purpose right here at U24 Television. This is Jesselyn Agunda that does host this conversation, and of course wherever you are, you've been seeing at least one or two people's statuses posting candidates. So we've been having the general nominations ongoing, which have started today, and very many young people are part of those nominations. Today we'd love to look at how we dissect how the process is, where there are challenges, and maybe make recommendations. We equally look at the aspect of youth financial inclusion in the demographic space. And of course, as usual, joining us is a very interesting panel. I have Emanzi next to me. Emanzi is a Pan-Africanist, and Emanzi, kindly introduce yourself to our listeners.
Hello, our beautiful viewers. My name is Mojisha Emanzi, a regular panelist on this show, and I'm glad to be here. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Emanzi, for joining us. Next to Emanzi is Mugisha. Mugisha, introduce yourself to our viewers.
Thank you very much for hosting me. I am Edgar Stewart Mugisha. I am the chairperson of my sub-county National Youth Council Committee. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edgar, for joining us. Next to Edgar is Dr. Jemba Michael. Jemba Michael, kindly introduce yourself to our viewers.
Thank you so much, Jesselyn. I am Jemba Michael Senkole. I'm a medical doctor, but also the board chair to the European Union Youth Sounding Board here in Uganda. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. To kick-start it off with you, Emanzi, looking at or following from previously the elections that have been ongoing or nominations, especially around the NRM and other political parties, vis-a-vis the atmosphere and environment as it is of today, where we are having many young people pick nomination forms but also show interest, also putting into consideration of those that train within the primaries but are back within the structures to contest. What is your view on whatever is happening?
Well, thank you. My view on what is happening could be two-dimensional. Firstly, as a democratic country, when we look at these processes happening, for example, today when we had on the first day of the nominations of the different candidates, it's an indicator that there is a democracy. Two, when you look at the intricacies within the processes that have happened, leave alone today, just for the nomination, but even from the earlier engagements that we saw, the party primaries, the nominations of the presidential aspirants, among others, there has been a lot of hula habo along the journey, and some of the issues we've been discussing here on TV, issues like voter bribery, monetization of the democratic processes, to be precise, the elections, electoral violence, sidelining of key special interest groups like youth, women, and persons with disability. So the democracy is there with its challenges, right? So where do we go from here as a country? I would think that the fact that we have the system in place, every civilization advances not as an act of chance or luck, but the systems that they put in place to advance the aspirations and the interests they have as a people collectively to get to the level of economic development they want. When you look at the National Resistance Movement, the candidate of the NRM, General Yoweri Museveni, who is the incumbent, the tag is a leap, taking a qualitative leap into the middle income economy or status.
Yes.
So if taking a leap into the middle income status now is going to be the target for the next 5 years, if the NRM and General Museveni are elected into power, that would mean that what are these other enabling factors that are going to facilitate the process of of leaping into the middle economy status. And now that is where the nominations that are started happening today come into play, because the people that are going to get nominated today, who are being nominated through this process, if they make it through the election period, these are going to be the drivers of the development agenda that we have as a nation, regardless of our political affiliations, right? So the process has been earmarked with a lot of, not a lot, I would say, because I don't have the statistics offhand right now, but the process has been with its challenges as of today. Many roads have been cordoned off. Some candidates have had a lot of altercations with the Electoral Commission officials because they were not nominated because of some challenges that came probably from their parties. Other parties endorsed more than one person. So there's been a lot of what I would like to call administrative technicalities, not national disaster issues. So I think that is a good place for us to start from as we have this conversation. I thank you so much.
Interesting. Administrative challenges, which means we can actually, if worked out upon, we can get it to the best. Getting to you, Mugisha, you did mention that you are a chairperson of your sub-county or division in Shema. And which political party are you?
I won as the NRM party flag bearer.
Interesting. So my question to you would be the aspect that we have had many young people show up within the primary elections, but also after the elections, if things did not go well, we are having them bounce again within, we've had them bounce again within these structures again. And if you were to focus on the aspect or reality that young people choosing political parties that they subscribe to vis-a-vis their interests, do you think that political parties have a clear agenda? Because if today I choose to run as this, and then when the election doesn't go my way, I choose to, choose the other way. But also, I have seen very many young people struggling to get people even to nominate them from the opposition political parties. Your comment on generally the NRM as a political party, and some of the opposition candidates within the youth structures that you've perhaps been following, and some of those challenges you think they've been facing.
Thank you very much. Now, I'm reading a book, and in that book they talk about Museveni's days after he had graduated from Dar es Salaam University. So in 1976, after the death of Mao Zedong, the liberator of China, yes, Museveni went to the Museveni went to Museveni, younger version of him, went to a college he was teaching in and wrote on the blackboard. He said, Lenin was a great man and he died. Marx was a great man and he died. Mao was a great man and he died. I too, I am not feeling well. And it was a clear indicator to the student that he was a great man. Unfortunately, those words have come to fruition in the 21st century. I can admit that our party chairman is tending to the edge where he is not feeling well. When I see youths nominating in large numbers and an attempt to include the youth, it signals transition to me. Unfortunately, all that has been made is an attempt. When we look at the political landscape in Uganda as per the youth are concerned, you realize that even though they claim that they are bringing the youth on board, it is very hard to find a youth on the table where they are making the decisions.
Yes.
So we are brought on board for PR stunts. And it is sad because when they need to do the accountability, they bring a youth to speak on that day.
Yeah.
But on the organizing committee for that event, you will find only one or no youth. When we are speaking about, for example, the nomination fees, a comrade, Honorable Kidega Moses again wrote to the Secretary General of the National Resistance Movement and said, these are young people. Why are you making them pay nomination fees? Let everything be waived. And he didn't get a response. And in the knowledge of affirmative action, there should not be any logical reason as to why you're making a youth member of parliament pay 2 million for nomination in the primaries, 3 million for nomination in the what? In the general election. Luckily today, the party paid for its flag bearers.
Yes.
But there are those that nominated as independents. And we have honestly been used. I say this honestly because I have not yet sworn in as the chairperson of my sub-county, yet we are supposed to swear in not less than 14 days after the election is concluded. They wrote a letter to show they are concerned, but nothing has been done to that effect. So you look at, for example, the mobilization of the parties that is taking place, the National Youth Council and the different leagues of each party were formulated but have not yet been funded. So you wonder, are we on board for the cameras or we are on board to do the work? Luckily, Mzee is moving towards a transition, but I wonder when that transition will be. Thank you so much.
Interesting. Jemba, looking at the aspect of young people being nominated, like you mentioned in terms of some of those political parties that were able to fund their candidates, the question of financial inclusion. And financial inclusion, when you look at countries like Kenya, if you're running as a young person, there are some quotas that are given in terms of the nomination fees, which is not the case with us here in Uganda. But also from the perspective of the various engagements that you've been in, and in terms of what must be done, what is the status quo like, and maybe some of those areas where we can borrow a leaf.
Thank you so much, Treslin. First, I'm happy to be joining this discussion. I think it's a very critical discussion and it's timely, especially during this season. Many times when we're talking about politics, we're talking about democracy, it's often kept around seats, the laws.
Yes.
And I'm glad that at least the conversation gets deeper to questions around the financial inclusion, the affordability of a young person to get into the space and be able to thrive in there. And I think I will also share it with what the previous speakers have said. There's the turnout. There's the legal provision for you to be represented. There's, for you to be represented nationally, even in our local governments. But then, that comes with an attached cost. Some it's the cost of the nomination that we are talking about, but also the many other costs that we never get to see. The mobilization, run here, airtime, print this, mobilize the other one, which is a lot of money. And at a juncture like now, where I think about 3 in 4 people of Ugandans, they are people below the age of 30.
Yes.
And you realize that youth demographic has so much potential. It's big, it's dynamic, it's growing. But yet I feel our systems have not effectively used that demographic into meaningful inclusion. And it still goes to the issue of the financial inclusion that we're talking about. Politics, democracy as itself does not happen in a vacuum. It happens in a space of socioeconomic status, the financial inclusion, and many other issues that affect in there. The bigger percentage of the 3 in 4 is not in employment, it's not in education, it's not in any technical training. Then you think of also the fees that have been placed there, the 2 million as he says, the 3 million as you say. You would agree with me that the bigger percentage of young graduates, 3 million is way far from their salary.
Yeah.
Yes, we have jobs.
If they have jobs anyway. Very far. So you see, the system is sieving you out even before you start campaigning. It takes you out. So it comes out, it takes away the idea of, excuse me, that I'm coming to contest because I have a vision, I care for my community, but it's now whose wallet can hold this. And we'll be honest, I think we've seen that it's a significant fact that right now the politics are shifting from the politics of idea to that of money.
Money.
Can you mobilize? Can you sustain delegates? Yeah? It's expensive. It's a huge cost for any young person with just a vision. With the many young people out in the informal sector that is not stable, that cannot be, that doesn't have job security, that pays irregularly, it is not convenient for a young person. We would say yes, now we are politically aware. There's a huge involvement, but then we've been structurally left out to influence. You can't say yes, even for the different individuals that are aligned with different even parties. While there is that that provision of yes, you can be part of this, the hierarchical standards that are limiting for you to come and influence strategy, because of that hierarchical nature of you can't come and define where what's the next trajectory.
Even
of the party.
favoritism.
Exactly. So financial inclusion is broadly back to the issue of socio-economic, social services, the socio-economic status of these people, and you're going now to talk about the environment that favors democracy or politics. Is it just the nomination? I think that's a smaller bit of it.
Yes.
It is, am I able to afford the small meal? Am I able to take my child to school? If I can't, then politics is a luxury. So I can't, I can't be involved. If I'm going to be involved, I've already been saved out before even I start. So it's a disease that we are struggling with, especially in a situation where the bigger percentage of the young people are faced with socioeconomic hardships and systems that are structurally pushing them out of, the political space. Thank you.
Interesting. I pick quite very many issues that you highlight, but also I think, like you did mention, it is very paramount that we don't just focus on running the election. Preparations are key, and then maybe also calling upon the perpetrators of this system, because I don't see why we should run as candidates in the same political party, but there is a favorite for that political party. It also puts the others at really a greater disadvantage. Emanzi, when we were having the primary elections, I'll pick an example of Bushenge district, which had 26 voters. This time round, Bushenge district has close to 55 voters going to the Western Youth or regional MPs. That means that an MP who was funding 26 people is now going to fund 50 plus. Talking about 38 plus districts within a region. The question of politics of money vis-a-vis politics of identity, and also vis-a-vis politics of manifesto. As young people being agents of the same that we continue to rebuke, how ready are we?
We have never been ready.
Interesting.
That is very true.
Yes.
Because in science, function dictates design, right? because you use a mobile phone to speak, it doesn't have tires, so you can't sit on it and drive it to your home or wherever.
Yes.
Right? Function. I'm trying to create the correlation between function and design to attempt to respond to your question. So if there was an obnoxious increment in the number of delegates, just in one district of Bushenyi from 26 to 55, right? This is more than 100% increment.
Yes.
Okay? I, Mujisha Emanzi, the son of the African soil, I do not believe that this is an error. Because, this is why I think that, for the delegates' number to increase, there has to be structures, avenues, addendums, policies, sijui what, all these, protocol followed. Now the question is, who designed those? Who were the brains behind that? Let's increase the number from 26 to 55. What was the justification?
Yes.
Was it to widen on the reach of representation? 2. Was it as a result of more funding? Probably, Electoral Commission was going to give them more money, and then they decided to increase the number of delegates. Or was it outright arrogance and indiscipline? And the reason that I ask this question is because we've been shouting for a long time about the aspect of financial inclusion for the young people. You do not expect, like they've mentioned, you do not expect young people who've just broken out probably from school or from a system or a structure that is very condescending to the young people. One Mugisha Stewart pops his head out. How do you expect him to maneuver with all these bills he has to pay for him to defend his ideals, which are inclined to his party? Which party is the party in power?
Emanzi, when you mentioned that, you remind me of a certain election we're in, and young people were actually requesting candidates to even pay their medical bills.
Exactly. Many a time, this is a result of, one, when we vote for the leaders, when they're asking for the vote, that is the last time that we see them, right? The next time that you'll see them, either when they've come for some consultation or when the Chisanja is over. So now I am Mujisha Emanzi, even me, this is the only opportunity that I have. I have no plans.
Yes, yes.
So this is the general consensus among the people in the country.
Yeah.
And the politicians, in this case, they will also have to hire their stakes. That is why they recently passed the motion that they are maintaining the number of the huge size of parliament that we have. They're maintaining that number, okay? And I can assure you, I'm sure as day follows night, in the 12th parliament, when they go into that parliament, in their first 2 to 3 months, the first thing on the agenda is going to be their remuneration, their allowances, and all these things. Why? Because also the pressure that is coming from the populace is high. There is a very huge disconnect between the political elite and the 99%, the proletariat, what Lenin and Karl Marx described in the Communist Manifesto. So where do we go from here? Young people, by the way, Tracy, when we speak about these things, it's not for show.
Yeah, true.
We don't speak about these things just because we're on TV and we have to say them. No.
Yeah.
Issues that affect young people are very pertinent to every society. In Madagascar, right now as I'm speaking, there has been a new president. This president swore the oath yesterday. What's the date today?
Today's 22nd.
22nd. On the 15th, the young people in Madagascar, they rose up, right? And they said, guys, we can't take this on. The costs of power, right? Water, the lack of jobs, and all these other problems, they rose up. And as I speak, the president fled, the military took over, but an African Union suspended them from the body. But for how long are we going to have this? We've had it in Mali, in Niger, we've had it in Burkina Faso. Until when are we going to have this? To me, these things are happening in Africa because of the same question that you've asked.
Yes.
Why are we not getting the antidote to the challenges that we actually know? Like, one, youth unemployment. How do we solve this? Who are the people that are actually talking about youth employment as the major bottleneck they are going to address in their manifestos right now? When you look at all the presidential candidates, we understand in politics, everybody in power, their number one objective is to maintain the power. And then you can discuss other things when you have the power. But we as the young people, I think it's the moment for us. The clarion call has been there for a long time. It's the moment for the young people in Uganda, especially, to come up with a resolute voice, to come up with a resolution and say that for every politician or every democratic system, we would like to have waivers for the young people. Waivers, for example, waive the fee for nomination from the 2 million in primaries to at least 100,000 shillings. From the 3 million for the general elections to at least 360,000 shillings, which is $100. Why? This will not only be liberating to other young people to participate, but it will also open up the space for the young people that would actually like to pop up, but they do not have the capacity and they are afraid, but they have the brilliant ideas, among others. I thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Emanzi. Mugisha, when you look at young people singing of how we have the largest demographic, day in, day out, but again, we as young people, we are the same people who are crying of how we are really not treated right. Who designs what is right? And the voices of the majority, how comes they are treated as the minority?
Thank you very much, Roslyn. Now, I would like to point out that the issue of the young people is not just in Africa. We've had issues in Bangladesh, Nepal, and right now Serbia's government is struggling to contain the protests. And the issue is, when you look at, a case in point of Uganda, 72% of our population is below 30.
Yes.
24% of our population is above 18 but below 30. That is the demographic for the youth. When you have the youth occupying 24% of the demographic, and then you give them a minister who is not a youth. After giving them a minister who is not a youth, you have duplication of duties. ISO, CMI, PLU, NRM, State House all have youth and institutions officers.
Even the structures.
Even the structures. The youth realize that everyone is out to make $1 a day. Everyone is looking for where they can eat from instead of working towards helping the youth. Now, moreover, these people are no longer even youth. So this office doesn't work. Instead of working on what is wrong in this office, you create another one. Now, surprisingly, and my clarion call to my party, the NRM, is you need to work on the matter of the young people, because majority of the rallies that have taken place, Museveni has not attracted any person to go from his lecture room. Unfortunately, I do not understand if this is an issue in Uganda, but even the other parties have not. None of my friends in Gulu University told me today that, Stuart, I have gone to Museveni's rally. None of my friends in institutions in Hoima told me today I went to attend Bobi Wine's rally. All of them were seated in class. Why? All the political parties are the same to us. Everyone is looking for how to register a political party, gain signatures, join iPod, share the billions. So you have majority of the country disgruntled.
Yes.
On top of being disgruntled, you oppress them further by giving them leaders that cannot voice their issues. Now, back to what you were asking. Who makes the decisions? In Uganda, the top decision-making body is cabinet. But then cabinet has a shadow decision-making body, which is the NRM Central Executive Committee. Now, the youth are supposed to have a representative on that Central Executive Committee. But what I would like you to understand is that there is a representative, not representatives. Now, if the formal body is cabinet and the person representing the youth on cabinet is older than the appropriated age, then on the SEC we only have one representative. That means out of 50 heads that are potential decision makers, the youth have only one. How will I convince a student of Makerere University who is pursuing his second year of political science at CHUS that these political parties are going to help him and thus he should go and vote on January 15th? And this is very clear in what is happening currently. None of the political parties has a message tailored to the young people. Why? In the bodies and the committees that make the decisions, there is no one to bring on the perspective of the young people. I was shocked when I saw Chicken talking about political issues. They are intellectuals. A man should have a platform on which he can talk. But because there is nothing to entice him to leave his academic and career-like pursuits, he will sit at home, and in the end, you will find Chicken determining who we vote. You will find Kasuku telling you to get one. And that is ideological decadence. And I am sad to say this, but the vision that Museveni came into power with was top-notch. But coming to 40 years of his reign, everything that he fought and went to the bush for has returned in an even worse but more intellectual way. We are no longer savages. The savages that Obote was ruling, the poor people Obote was ruling, we are now educated, but we are still as illiterate and ideologically oriented as the people that Obote was ruling. Now, with this in mind, whether you are NUP, whether you are DP, whether you are NRM, or you are in the common man's party, if you say you really want to change things in this country, your people have nominated, you're launching campaigns soon, what do you have to say for 24% of this country, which actually consists of 10 million voters out of the 18 million we have in our voters register? If you don't have anything to say, I am not a prophet of doom, but we are going to have an even worse voter turn-up in January, yet this time around there's no COVID. Because personally, I have nothing to say. I was a guild speaker of Makerere University. I can mobilize about 500 people through just a few phone calls, but they will ask me, Stuart, you yourself, you have been used and dumped. What about us? What gains are we protecting? First explain a protest vote. What are we doing with the Rusania? So that is the situation we're in, and it is because there is no youth on the tables that make decisions. Unfortunately, Doctor here had to go into development organizations because there's no space for him in government. But if you made this man a central coordinator for all the youth in Uganda, you would see what would be different. But unfortunately, someone's friend has to be rewarded. Unfortunately, which is even more saddening, that friend is above 40. I will not be led by a 40-year-old even though you call him my minister.
They call themselves senior youth.
No. That is bullcrap. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Edgar, for that. Ajemba, when you look at the question of quality of leadership, And I know quality of leadership is very fundamental because as the young people, it is the generation that we are looking up to. Now, much as we cannot keep blaming here and there, I know some of the civil societies that keep pushing young people to get into those spaces. But when it comes to the aspect of political intervention, of course you don't rule out the fact of the different organization structures and how they run their systems. What needs to be done to address the question of a leadership crisis? Because from what we are talking about, we are saying a leadership crisis. And also, where do civil societies come in? Maybe some of the civil societies that you are in, how do they come in, and how do we as young people be part? Or what recommendations would there be to really answer the question of leadership crisis?
Thank you so much again, Jocelyn. Quality of leadership right now is dependent on economic access.
Yes.
We've had the conversation of brilliant minds who want to be part of this discussion, want to be part of the different representatives of young people from wherever, and they are too poor to do it, or not rich enough to do it. One thing I noted when you were asking him a question, and you said, how can they fund now 55? How can they fund? It's been normalized in a way now. It is look for that money and fund these delegates. Yeah. So the quality of leadership is going to be dependent on the different power holders in the different institutions, one. But then it's also going to be an economic status, whether you can penetrate or can sustain yourself in that struggle. Now, are you a good leader? Don't know, but you can sustain yourself. Is it right? Definitely no, because it's not now based on the idea or the qualities that you embody as an individual. It's on how many people you can now pay off, how many delegates you can keep in a hotel for how many days, how much are you going to give them. Quality, that alone cuts you out, right? But yet it's been normalized. Yeah?
Yes.
It's quite a shame that it's now the way of life. And you might say, oh, what about, why don't young people see this? Why shouldn't they do something about it? But they are frustrated. We are frustrated. He talked of the typical routine of most representatives in parliament. You see them, they buy waraji for the whole community, and then they come back the next time to buy another waraji after 5 years. Yeah?
Yes.
So now you get to a point where now these people who are unemployed, they're not, they're in an informal sector that is paying them 1,000 a day. When they see you, they want to get every coin out of you. When you come with your ideas and all these ways of how you're going to transform the community, they don't care because you can't buy them soap that day. But even for those who get an opportunity to go through, the system and the structures around you are more money, you know, everyone is looking for that dollar. And now, the biggest problem that I've realized is now young people are seen as a problem to solve.
Yeah, true.
Very dangerous ideology. This is a huge demographic with so much potential if invested in. And you see the concerns of youth inclusion do not come from a place of courtesy, like help us, bring us because we are many. No, it's competence. There are different young people that are well skilled in all the sectors that you can put out. Well informed, well equipped. But yet, we'll go to the people that are being rewarded, to the few that can be supported, to those who are in patronage systems that can, you know, cater for them. Quality of leadership? it's been grossly it's been crippled. An ethical leader right now is a dangerous leader. They do not want them around.
Their fault.
Yes, the qualities that you're going to outline out there are no longer appreciated by the many.
Yes.
Well, the few that are in control.
Control is a good word.
So it's you talk about civil society. Of course, civil society is going to come on with complementary support to government institutions and all that. But then we know what's happening to the civic space.
Yes.
We talk about the voter turnout, but then while last time it was a public health crisis, many things as an individual push you out of participation. It's either your experiences, the things you've had, or the things you've seen. Will my vote count anyway? That alone can push you out of going to that line. Will it count anyway? Should I close my shop? Should I stop this cloth I was tailoring to go and stand in that line and hope that it will work? Has it worked? Maybe, maybe not. So civil society still comes in to support, create a bit of civic awareness, and we've had structures that have for so long contributed to civic awareness.
Yes.
But then you also realize the biggest rhetoric now from civil society is how the concept of holding people accountable is not very pleasant or even that appreciated. Which, of course, takes away the complementary role. If I realize there's a gap here and I'm telling you, hey, do better here, and then I'm seen as an enemy, yet it is it's obvious. You can see it.
Yes.
No, really. It's sometimes very concerning to see we stand and defend certain things that are too hard to defend.
Yeah.
So it's, again, I fail to get the right words to, frame what I really want to say, but broadly, good leaders, they are there, a number of them, especially from the young people that have been tried now that have been seen as a problem that is being solved.
Yeah.
An ideology that should be stopped. But look at this huge demographic, if sensitized, supported, that can turn into a huge force that can reshape the entire trajectory of politics. It's not a problem to be solved. And we do not come to ask for inclusion from a place of help us, we are many. It's from a place of competence. We have something to offer. There are many things to offer. Skills, lived experiences. And you might say, oh my God, no, I've lived more than you. There are differences. Many, many differences that should be put into account. And we bring that perspective, we bring the knowledge, the 21st kind of experience. We bring that. Civil society exists to support and hold these institutions accountable and supporting civic awareness, but yet the spaces continue to shrink day and night. They continue to shrink day and night. Those being held accountable, they don't take it lightly. Even if it's written in their mandate that this you must not do. If somebody reads that same statement to them, it is wrong. What do you mean? Makes no sense. Quality leaders? It's a struggle that we may have to fight for. Understanding that there are these characteristics of the leaders that we are trying to look out for, all that we know to be good leaders, are no longer that appreciated, especially in a system that tries to push them down. A system that has monetized every little thing, from nomination to the simple conversation you can have with, you know, the people that you're trying to represent, to the internal structures, to the bigger structures that should, you know, accommodate you, accommodate the ideas. It's thank you.
Thank you so much. I think you brought out it quite clearly and very well. Most of the time, society will fight the good leaders and later blame the bad leaders they chose themselves. But Emanzi, as we wind this up, what should we do? What is our role as young people in this? Do we give up? Is there something that must be done? Is there someone we could call out to? Or, yes.
Oh, thank you. There is a lot that we got to do as young people. Not because we're going to wait for someone to invite us to come and change this, but the situation on a very personal level. Every youth in Uganda is compelled to act better, ask tougher questions, and to ask for better. Because, you know, we are we are in an interconnected world, right?
Yes.
We see what the young people in other countries are doing. We see how they're prospering. We see how they're sharing ideas. And then we come back home. What we see is not so cool. So, as young people of Uganda, we have to come up with a strong voice, right? And decide that this is going to be the generation that creates the generational change.
Yes.
Like the General Museveni's did at their time. All of us on this panel, at our age, the General Museveni's were running a whole government. As we are on TV discussing the problems of young people. Let's ask the right questions, build knowledge base, let's read as much as we can and engage the powers that be at every level that we can in a disciplined, strategic, and organized manner, because here we advocate for organizing and not antagonizing. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Emanzi. Mugisha, what must be done and by who?
Thank you very much. Now, on this matter, I feel that the young people are not tired enough, or maybe they are not angry enough, or maybe there are a small or majority of the people have not yet experienced the injustices that some few experience. But whatever the case, what must be done is every young person in this country must be intentional about occupying the space that's meant for them. Because you find young people saying that I am waiting for a call. I am waiting for this person to make a way. No. Get out of your comfort zone and ask the tough questions. When you are reprimanded, stand for what you believe in till when they understand that he is not going to change. We either adjust or send him away. If they send you away, keep doing it till when one day you are accepted for who you are. Do not conform. And I do not believe that anyone is going to come and change our dynamic for us. We may not have bushes to go to anymore, but I'm very sure there's an ideological war that is going to be waged soon, and we are going to be on the winning side of it. The problem is, are you going to be a part of us? So to every young person out there, this is your chance. Do not misuse your vote in January. Use it to show the people in power that your vote matters. And I pray that you vote for NRM. If you do not, we will.
Edgar, that's right there. Young people should vote capable leaders, not just colors. Dr. Jemba, what must be done and by who?
One, the idea that young people are a problem to solve should change. No, that's not true. So we need to understand that this is a force that can be worked with to transform everything around us in ways we can never imagine. The level of innovativeness that is in this age demographic is something that you can never look down on. The second thing is we need to be deliberate as we get the next cohort of leaders. Let us not be the people that put in another set of people who are going to be distracted, who after 5 years will look down and will be shy to say I voted for him, or even just say it in the corridors. It is your responsibility to talk to that leader, and then be critical enough to understand that this one, this one is for the aspirations of young people in this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jemba, for that. Now, of course, this is Youth of Purpose, and we've been having Dr. Jemba Michael, who is the chairperson of the European Union Youth Sounding Board. I've equally been having Mugisha Edgar Stewart, who is the youth chairperson of Shema Central Division under the National Youth Council. I've been having Emanzi, who is a Pan-Africanist, but also our Asia guest here. We've been discussing the general elections, particularly nominations, and the aspect of youth inclusion in the democratic spaces that we are in. Take home from our panelists today is that young people should not be seen as problems to solve, but rather they should ensure that on credit, but also with the mandate given to them, they have something to show for it. And of course, from Mugisha as well, is that young people should not frontline their interests over interests of the vast majority, but also calls upon young people to make sure that you're able to go out there and vote, because it's not just enough for you to keep shouting on WhatsApp and you never go to make that vote count. And of course, from Emanzi is that we need to understand the concepts and realities vis-a-vis the economic pressure around empowerment of young people. Now, thank you so much for joining and listening in. This is Cheslin Ankunda. Be reminded that this show happens every Wednesday at 9 p.m. We want to thank the team on the production and everyone who makes this possible. Thank you for listening in. See you next time, same time.
Youth of Purpose.